fantastic to see such strong representation from across the agencies and services today. Very reassuring indeed to see so many of you have taken the time to hear the progress on adult support and protection in Aberdeen that has already been alluded to. And we all understand the importance of course, the pandemic has affected us all in so many different ways, but testimony to you good folk and your teams that we have continued to do so much good, great even, and essential work in this field, with some new ways of working that are likely to remain with us long after we get the all clear. Can I get the next slide, please, Val? As many of you will know, the Aberdeen City Adult Protection Committee has a range of statutory responsibilities and has oversight of all adult protection activity in Aberdeen in ensuring our practices across the statutory partners and others are effective. Our committee meets bi-monthly and includes a host of partners, including Aberdeen City Council, Aberdeen City Health and Social Care Partnership, NHS Grampian, Police Scotland, Advocacy Service Aberdeen, ACFO, the Scottish Ambulance Service and Scottish Fire Service, and so many others. We collectively identify emerging trends, sharing good practice, and at all turns look to improve, overlaid with a strong ethos of continuous improvement. As you will hear today, the adult protection team in Aberdeen haven't been sitting back, and we want to bring you up to speed with so many of the recent developments. However, none of this, as I've already said, has been achieved in isolation, but through our Team Aberdeen approach. Has there ever been a time when we have needed to meaningfully collaborate so much and not, as it's tempting to be at times, regress back into silos? I do hope you enjoy and engage in this whistle-stop tour of how we're pushing forward with adult support and protection in Aberdeen. And of course, I am delighted, respecting there isn't much time today, to discuss with one and all the committee's role in moving forward. Thanks very much and enjoy the day. Back to you, Val.
Okay, thanks very much, Adrian. So everybody hopefully will be aware of the Grampian Interagency procedures for adult support and protection, which underpin everything that we do in this world in Aberdeen. These have been revised recently to take account of updates to national guidance and also good practice over the time since they've been developed. The changes were widely consulted on, so hopefully you had a chance to have a look at those. And the revised version replaces the previous interagency policy and procedures for the support and protection of adults at risk of harm. The interagency procedures can be found on the Public Protection website, and you will hear more about that over the course of the morning session. And the procedures themselves also include some appendices which are still in the process of being reviewed, and we'll be sharing.
Paul, we're not hearing you.
Oh.
I'm hearing.
I can hear you.
I'm hearing you fine.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I'm hearing.
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, no problem here.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, thank you. I can't see anybody, so I don't know what's happening. Thank you. I don't know how much of that everybody heard, but the appendices, there are some appendices of the interagency procedures which are being reviewed. They include the thresholds document to help when situations are borderline, to help decide if adult support and protection procedures should be applied. There's the large-scale investigations procedure, which is being reviewed, the case review protocol, and also the information sharing protocol, which is being updated to reflect changes to legislation and also to enable us to do multi-agency case file review. So I will now hand over to Morag.
Thanks, Val. So hi, good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Morag Wiseman, and I'm the senior social worker of the current duty team, soon to be what the new adult protection social work team, with the go live date of Monday, the 4th of October. So not that long. I'm going to take you through the team purpose, the role and the remit of the team, and the team composition. And as has been said earlier on, if anybody's got any questions about it, then either come back to me directly, or if you want to put them in the chat or in the document that Nicola shared, then that's fine. And we will get back to you after the event. Okay, so Adult Protection Social Work Team. We've been created following, I suppose, a series of meetings over the last few months, and we're looking forward to taking on this bit of work. I think that's really important to put out there. The whole team are quite excited about it. So the team purpose, we're going to be undertaking the initial referral discussions with other key partners and doing the immediate safeguarding of adults at risk of harm if necessary, and providing a duty social work service to any adult who's 16 years or older, unless allocated to another social work team or aligned in a health and social care service. Key part of the change is that we're going to be screening all of the adult protection concern reports and referrals, and that is a big change in comparison to the way things currently operate in the city. From that, we're hoping that we'll be able to get a more consistent approach, and one of the ultimate aims, I think, is to try and reduce the number of investigations and to take more of the earlier intervention kind of way of working where possible. We're looking forward to the multi-agency working and developing good working links with everybody. So as I said, the role and the remit of the team, we're there to undertake assessments of need, including risk analysis and management, identify and meet needs as appropriate, attend meetings as required and provide written reports, provide short-term support, advice, guidance and assistance on a range of issues, signposting to other services, and developing a knowledge and advice hub for practitioners involved in adult protection. And that would go out, we'd be looking forward to inviting any comments from yourselves or questions at a later date. We're also there to provide an appropriate adult service, and that's a key role working with Police Scotland. As I say, we've been meeting since June this year to develop the team, and we've pulled together an action plan and a risk register. The action plan looks at a number of key factors, including we've looked at the customer journey from start to end. We've got a communication strategy, and we're also starting to identify key data sets that we can use to measure the success and otherwise of the team. And that's really important so that we know what we're doing works, not only for colleagues and stakeholders and partner agencies, but also ultimately the customer, the client that we support, the people that we all support on a day-to-day basis. Really important that we get that bit right. And ultimately provide the assurances to the Adult Protection Committee that we're meeting our statutory functions. So team composition, team members, I know we've got quite a few of them around the room today. So we're going to have 4 admin support staff. So that's Alison Christie, Ashley Broadfoot, Linda Adam and Ellie Smart. And that's the current duty team and adult protection admin staff. We've got an adult protection trainer, Fran Donoghue, who's been in post for a while. We've got the adult protection coordinator, Nicola Scott. We've got the public protection strategic lead, Val Vertigans, social work line manager, myself currently, and then we've got social workers. We've got 10 social workers council officers, and they are, I can see Val's put the mugshot of us all that we took a wee while ago, Motley Crew anyway, and we won't go there. But we've got 10 council officers, social workers, Jackie Gamba, Zia Bartlett, Rona Matheson, Ellen Camsley, Jennifer Buchan, who will be with us just for a short while longer because she's moving on, unfortunately, Mandy Reid, Sandra Anderson, Debbie Hunter, Martin Bruce, and we've got 0.5 of vacant posts at the moment. So that's the 10 staff, the 10 social workers council officers, and they're all being trained up in the process of the screening of adult protection in the city, and working closely with other colleagues to make sure that we consider risk and how to manage those referrals appropriately. And then we've got our appropriate adult and social work support worker, Ian Horn. So that in a nutshell is the team, a whistle-stop tour. Like I say, happy to come to any meetings or talk to anybody after this, you know, at a later date. Put your questions in the chat or in the note that Nicola's put in, and we'll get back to you at a later date. So enjoy, Nicola. I'm going to hand you over to Nicola. Enjoy the rest of the morning and have a good day. Thank you. Over to you, Nicola.
Morning. It feels like I'm past the parcel a little bit. So as I've said, I'm the Adult Protection Coordinator. I've been in post since about June of this year. So one of the changes or one of the things that we've introduced, which we will go into more detail later on in the council officer session that we're going to do, is the lead agency operational procedures. There's been a lot of, should we say, myths or do's and don'ts or things that have been decided in terms of practice for the lead agency when we're undertaking, particularly the adult support investigation stages, that maybe haven't been formalised. So this is about having a one-stop shop document of all those things that evolve and develop in practice. So it's really going to help around awareness. It is, let's say, the majority is around the lead agency and the investigation process and what the role of social work is in that. But I think it's important for multi-agency partners to be aware of that as well. It's very reflective of the new team and the IRD process, which I'm going to speak to you a little bit about today as well. And it pulls together everything throughout the ASP journey, and we do really want it to be that working document that is a one-stop shop, that really kind of gives us the operational guidance that we require. But as I said, it's going to reflect process improvements. We've got an internal development group that makes changes, that takes decisions on how things should move forward or how practices should be, which will again be reflected in the operational procedures. So these will be placed in the council officer team site. So it's not going to be on the public protection website. However, if anybody's interested or would like to see a copy of them, please do give me a shout, and I'm quite happy to share them with you as well. And like I say, I'll go into more detail in relation to the operational procedures with council officers. So we're just tightening up the kind of processes that are already that come in. She says confidently. So the IRD process is something that has been implemented widely across
You seem to be freezing. I don't know if it's
to the Adult Support and Protection social work team. We will now, if we feel that it's required, and there's a few scenarios in which it would be required, that we would undertake continually reviewing the process. So Aberdeenshire have already started to undertake the IRD process, so there's definitely things that we can take from
So Nicola's having obviously some IT issues. I'm sure she'll be back in a minute. I think what she was saying there was that the IRD process has already been started in Aberdeenshire, and so we're going to be following on from the success of that. Nicola, are you back?
Thank you, Maura. All the times for my internet to not work. Honestly, I think lots of people maybe have some issues today as well, so apologies. Yes, so we will be continually reviewing. Thank you, Maura, for jumping in and saving me there. And go to the next slide, please, Val. So an IRD is a meeting between NHS, police and social work. So it is, we did have 3 days to screen an initial concern report that came in. That's now increased to 5 days. So that's the from the IRD process, from the 18th of October, it will now be 5 days that it will be. So where you might have put an adult support and protection concern in and you might have heard within a couple of days, just be aware that that timescale has increased to allow for the IRD process. So the IRD will take place within 48 hours of us having a concern report received. So some of you will be involved in that process and be aware about what this is already. So we have a single point of contact in NHS that we will engage with, and who will signpost us to the right person within the NHS to be involved in that discussion. And we're also then have got our police partners. It's a similar process to what children's services do in relation to child protection. They have an IRD desk and a person. Just now we're going to be working with the public protection team, but there's the hope that it will go across to the IRD desk, and it will be like a really similar process to the child protection discussions. Go to the next slide, Val. So it really is a short meeting. I think a lot of what we have learned from Aberdeenshire is that a lot of them are taking the form of professionals meetings, that, you know, more people are being invited, it's taking quite a long time. That's not what an IRD is. It's very much so a short meeting to share information around the adult support and protection situation for that person. So there might be other pertinent information, but that's about, okay, is a professionals meeting required? And really this is about deciding whether the concerns or that the adult is at risk of harm and meets the 3-point test, and therefore and or needs to then go to full investigation, really. So it is a very short kind of meeting. So this is going to be a process that we'll go through. I see some of you might be involved in that process, which is fantastic, you know, and it is obviously it's new, so it's going to be a little bit about trying to establish how we're going to do that, how many IRDs we're going to have, because how long is a piece of string? Sometimes, you know, the number of referrals we receive in a week are very different, and not all referrals will need an IRD. So it is about trying to establish at what point and the thresholds of IRD processes as well. So that's kind of where we're at in relation to that. Next slide, Val. This kind of just shows a little bit about what I've just explained to you, the lead agency being the Adult Protection Social Worker team will receive the report, and we will be the ones who kind of screen it, I suppose, and decide whether there is a need for an IRD, whether there's serious harm, there needs to be a multi-agency investigation, or whether we just need a bit more information about that individual, if somebody's maybe borderline in terms of meeting the ASP criteria. So then we would obviously then request police and NHS to attend. We've got a single point of contact set up, set the IRD date, but like I say, within 48 hours, it's held virtually. And then I suppose from that, it's about the decision. So the record of the meeting that is taken, whether then it needs to be a police investigation, adult support and protection investigation, or both. There's no further action, or there's further action, but it's not adult support and protection. So it really does just give us an extra layer to sort of an enhanced screening process. Okay, that just gives you a bit of a flavour. So I suppose general points that it's about representing the organisation. So when you're coming along, you're gathering information from other people. So it's not just about the information that you have. It's about the information that other professionals in your organisation have as well. And all information is permitted to be shared at that point, and because there's the information sharing protocol again, which will be on the public protection website, and it is concise. It's like I say, I can't bang on about that enough, and Kenny will be happy with that. That it's not a professionals meeting. It is very much so a quick information sharing. Let's make a decision about this individual as to whether adult support and protection is required or what other actions needed. Okay, very quick whistle stop. Here, back to Val.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicola. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the learning strategy and framework, which the Adult Protection Committee approved at its meeting in June 2021. And it emphasises the fact that the APC places great value on a learning culture being proactive to prevent problems and not just react after the event. As ever, the framework is on the new Public Protection website, and it sets out a number of things, how opportunities for learning and improving practice are identified, and that could be from a range of sources. It could be as a result of regular quality assurance of case files, whether that's single or multi-agency. And as I say, we are hoping to move to do some multi-agency case file review. It could be from the findings of audits or inspections. Learning could derive from feedback or complaints from clients or carers or other service or agencies. Workers identifying opportunities for improving practice is really important. You know, the people who are working in ASP on a day-to-day basis are best placed to know where improvements could take place. Or, of course, when on those occasions when a serious incident occurs, which may lead to a case review, and that would include case reviews from other areas. And there is a Grampian subgroup which looks at these any case reviews from other areas to identify any implications for us locally. So there are a number of ways to identify opportunities for areas to improve. The document also sets out circumstances and criteria for case reviews and a summary of the case review process itself from the Grampian protocol covering that. The framework sets out what to consider, things to consider when you're planning how to disseminate and embed learning and make improvements to practice. And there's an implementation plan template as an appendix to that document, which is intended to be helpful for that. And it also looks at how the Adult Protection Committee will seek assurance that learning has been embedded, for example, by collecting relevant data or requesting a follow-on audit. And at the moment, we're looking at how we can review the effectiveness of the self-neglect guidance, which was rolled out earlier in the year, which derived from a case review. To see how effective that has been for staff and how has it been embedded into practice. So, as I say, yes, please do have a look at the document on the website. Everything is there. And I'll now hand back to Nicola to talk a bit about learning and development.
Everyone's probably going, oh no, not her again with the funny internet connection. Hopefully you can hear me now. Yeah, of all the days. So part of what my role has been kind of coming in is about really looking at about the learning and development that is required for adult support and protection, really in relation to different levels of workforce. So we have got there's a Grampian learning and development plan that's been revised. So based on that, we have then done a local Aberdeen City learning and development framework and action plan. So it is about the lead agency's priorities within a multi-agency context, really, and it's about that there's different levels, I suppose, of adult support and protection knowledge, skills, and competencies that's really required, depending on where you're working and what your role and remit in adult support and protection is. So we've got it set out in relation to 3 different levels, I suppose, and not meaning that, but sort of workers and for the learning, so wider workforce, specific workforce, and specialist workforce. So there's different areas in which you could access learning and development. At the moment, and this year in particular, we really have got a focus on the lead agency and council officers. So there might not be maybe as much, sorry Val, if you can just go to the next slide, maybe not be as much that's kind of open to multi-agency partners. Obviously we have the upcoming inspection, and part of that is really looking at the processes within the second and third stages of the adult support and protection process, so the protection plan, risk assessments and case conference, and then the full investigation. So that's the focus, but things will evolve and develop. So part of the operational subgroup from the APC, we've been looking at what monthly spotlight topics that we can do that are multi-agency across the board. So we're looking at I suppose more specific things, not, you know, looking at like the staff neglect and hoarding guidance, for example. We're looking at service user engagement and representation within the adult support and protection process. We will look at capacity in adult support and protection as spotlight topics. So the multi-agency partners will come together and will be sharing information, resources, and so there's a real focus each month on a specific topic. One of the other things that we're looking to do as well, and if folk are interested, please do give me a shout, is multi-agency practitioner groups that follow up on some of the guidance that and I suppose areas of interest or topics that are quite difficult to work with in practice. So we are looking to set up practitioner groups of people who are interested. So where people have got a case that they're working with, they can maybe go along to this practitioner group and ask for advice and guidance, and that people become upskilled really in the areas of work. So for example, we are looking at the self-neglect and hoarding and having a practitioner group around that, which we've already got some volunteers for, and also service user engagement and representation. So that multi-agency practitioner groups is a really good way to sort of focus people's learning and areas of interest and develop your knowledge and skills with multi-agencies. So we are also focusing very much on modernisation of learning and development and virtual learning. Obviously in the context of COVID, we are now moving to delivering courses virtually via Teams. But we're also looking at how do you access courses, how do you apply for courses, you know, things like we won't as standard be providing certificates for courses. Oops, oh sorry, laptop just I'm having one of those days. We will be looking at not giving out certificates unless it's really required or somebody requests it, for example. So we are looking at ways in which that we can become more modern in relation to delivering learning and development activities in adult support and protection. Thanks.
Thank you, Nicola. So, as has been mentioned, and hopefully this works, I'm just going to do a quick overview of the new website, and Nicola's going to post the link to the site in the chat. If you haven't had a chance to have a look, please do. So this is the home page of the site, which is called Aberdeen Protects. The site was put together at the behest of the Chief Officers Group, which has oversight of all of the areas of public protection in Aberdeen, and it went live on the 1st of September. So first thing to say is if you want to report a concern or you're concerned about a child or adult, there's a big box at the top of the screen for doing just that, or there's telephone numbers to ring if you want more information and you're not sure, or you can access the reporting form to actually put in an adult support and protection referral. So back to the home page then, you can see the 6 areas of public protection are represented there. So we've got the Protecting Children, which is the Child Protection Committee's bit of the site. Protecting Adults is the Adult Protection Committee's bit. We've got a section for the ADP, Reducing Alcohol and Drugs Use. We've got Improving Children's Futures, which is the Integrated Children's Services Board section of the site. The Violence Against Women Partnership looks after the Reducing Violence and Abuse section, and then the Community Justice Group looks after the Reducing Crime section of the site. So all of the areas pulled together. And there's reasonably consistent information across the 6 areas about the different topics. So you can see in terms of protecting adults, just click on that page. So there's general information there about adult support and protection, the 3-point test and guidance for that. And then you can click onto these other pages, which are the same as the home page, except there's also a page here for the Adult Protection Committee. So there's more information about the committee there if you wanted that. So there's advice for adults, advice for family and friends. Please have a look at those in your own time. I'll have a quick look at the policy and guidance for professionals page, which would probably be of interest. So we've got the national legislation and government guidance there, other national guidance, and there's various guidance from the Office of the Public Guardian, the Care Inspectorate, a number of documents from the Mental Welfare Commission on a range of topics, some resources about adult participation and communication, some other resources, and then we've got our Grampian protocols there, which we've referenced this morning, and our local Aberdeen guidance and protocols, including that guidance about the 3-point test, the local IRD protocol for Aberdeen, and the self-neglect and hoarding guidance, and a new client engagement strategy and guidance, which was agreed by the Adult Protection Committee recently. Then at the bottom there, we've got more information about access to independent advocacy. Then in the right-hand column, we've got our learning and development content. So the learning and strategy and framework is there. You can see a link to that. And we are going to be moving to an online booking system for learning and development. That's in the process of being developed. We're not quite there yet, but we will be before too long, hopefully. So at the moment, there's a document that summarises the learning and development courses that are available at the moment, the training that's available. So if you're interested, click on that, and there's details of how to register for those courses. And then we've got information about learning reviews. So we had the local review about self-neglect and hoarding, which has been referenced, and here are the resources from that. And the launch session video is here as well. And then we've got the case reviews from other areas. So if you're needing those, please, this is the place to come and find them, try to collect them together. So that's the policy and guidance for professionals. And then just quickly on the home page, you can see the button at the bottom to access all the latest multi-agency training and events across Aberdeen City. So all of the different public protection areas will collate their training and events, and you'll be able to find anything via this link. So at the moment, there's only these 2 events on, but over time that will develop, and you'll be able to see any events, and you'll be able to search and filter to see what events are on, and register from the site here. So that is the site. Now we just have to work out how to get back to the slides. Right, there we go. So finally from me, a quick overview of what's happening in preparation for the inspection of adult support and protection, which is on the horizon. So the aim of the inspection will be to seek assurance that adults at risk of harm in Scotland are supported and protected by existing national and local adult support and protection arrangements. So and we're working on the basis that the inspection could happen from any time early in the new year, basically. And there's a small multi-agency inspection working group which is meeting regularly to coordinate preparations for this. The National Quality Indicator Framework for Adult Support and Protection will be used to assess how good are our key processes and our leadership of adult support and protection. So they'll be the specific areas of focus. It's a 13-week process in all, and it includes a number of different elements. So a key element will be the case file review, and the Care Inspectorate will tell us which files it wants to look at, and then it'll look at those files from social work, NHS Grampian and police. And so we're looking at, so once we know which files are going to be looked at, we have to upload the file details into a special SharePoint site. So we're looking at the logistics of how to do that. We'll have to submit a 20-page position statement, which gives an overview of progress and strengths and areas for improvement across the quality indicator framework areas. And we also have to submit a number of supporting evidence documents, and work on all of those documents is ongoing at the moment. There'll be a staff survey, which will be an electronic survey, which will be coming out to everybody when the time comes. So watch out for that, and please fill it in when it comes. And then there'll also be staff and senior management focus groups. So that's a brief overview of matters relating to the forthcoming inspection. So I'll now hand back to Nicola.
I just really want to say thank you for attending today. I know it's been a lot of information, and it really, I suppose the purpose was for this session to provide you with an update about how we are moving forward. I would really hope that people are engaged and excited, I suppose, about some of the changes that we're making around the adult support protection process and procedures. And we've still got a lot of work to do, but we're definitely getting there, and we've got lots of plans for the future. So just really wanted to say thank you. We've got a follow-up session with our council officers for at 10:30 this morning, so that'll be more detail that we will go into. If anybody wants to put any questions, please do put them into the chat, even if it's after the session. You know, we will get back to you. We will send you the response. Or even if you think of anything afterwards, please do get back to us if you've got any suggestions about what should be on the public protection website. We really do want to engage with everybody in this process as well. So just wanted to say thank you for coming along, and we've got 5 minutes to spare, so even better. And apologies for my internet connection again. So nice to see everybody. Thank you.
Nicola, can I come in, please?
Yeah, of course.
I just want to say there's just a few questions popping up in the chat about whether or not the reporting arrangements will change for adult protection concerns. Yeah. Apologies, I should have put that in at the start because that's quite a key bit of information. But just to provide reassurance that the reporting arrangements won't change. If you have an adult protection concern, the reporting form will still be available in the same ways. It's the same reporting form. It's the same phone number, same email addresses at the moment. None of that's changed. It's just the way that we internally respond to the referrals that come in. And for the time being, it will be a Monday to Friday service still. But like Nicola said, any questions, pop them in the chat. We'll get back to you, or come back to us at a later date. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Nice to see you. I'm going to stop recording now.